God's forsaken city.
In Path of Exile 2, we have crossbows that work like sniper rifles, shotguns, and assault rifles. But in order to really get shooter-like gameplay, we wanted to go further. In Path of Exile 2, we now support WASD movement. You can now walk around in any direction independent of aiming. In fact, if this is your preferred method of gameplay, you can use it on any class, regardless of what weapon type you're using. You can change between click to move or WASD at any time. You can only hold 2 crossbows at a time, but Path of Exile 2 is all about interesting combinations of abilities, and this is where ammo skills come in. This is a burst shot crossbow, and right now I have armor-piercing ammo equipped, which makes it very effective when facing a group of enemies, since it pierces right through them.
Bloody horrors!
But there are other ammos too. For a bigger, single target, it might be a good idea to switch to Incendiary. The more projectiles hit the target, the stronger the ignite, so you'll want to get up nice, close and personal with this one. If you have a bunch of targets running at you, you might want to slow them down. In this case, you could switch to Permafrost Burst Shot. Shooting a bunch of smaller enemies at range will chill them, and potentially even freeze them in place. Once you have some frozen enemies though, you can switch back to Armor Piercing. Shooting a frozen enemy with Armor Piercing Burst Shot will explode the ice, doing a huge amount of damage to all nearby enemies. Another feature crossbows have is attachments. This is a grenade launcher. As you can see, when I equip it, it appears on the underside of the crossbow. These attachments are just like skill gems, so you effectively get extra skill slots, and you can augment these with support gems, just like regular skills.
Fire in the hole!
These grenades take a while to explode, so it's a good idea to pair them with some kind of crowd control, like Permafrost Burst Shot. We have other grenades too though. This attachment is a flash grenade. It does barely any damage, but it does a huge amount of stun. It can be a great opener before you run into combat.
Surprise!
Now here's another attachment, an oil grenade. Firing one of these grenades coats the ground and nearby enemies in oil. Oil slows enemies down, so it's another useful crowd control mechanic. Now, another thing that oil can do is be set on fire. Any burning enemy or explosion will ignite the oil, causing extra burning damage. One of the problems with burst shot crossbows is that each pellet doesn't do much damage individually. This means that if enemies have armor, then it will be very effective preventing that damage. But thankfully, you can equip an additional crossbow in your second weapon set to deal with the weak.
timelines through the Monolith of Fate. Once 10 different Harbingers are vanquished, you can spend a Harbinger Eye you've collected to enter the place where travelers are corrupted into Harbingers, the Altar of Oblivion. This is where you will challenge the pinnacle boss Abroth. To help tackle these challenging new threats, and because we've tested it and it's just way fun to use, we're introducing a new evade or dodge roll mechanic. While evade doesn't offer immunity frames or serve as a traversal skill, it's a crucial part of your survival toolkit, with 2 charges available from level 1. Unlike other skills, evade isn't swappable and lacks a skill tree, but its cooldown recovery speed increases as your character levels up. Furthermore, evade can be enhanced by various affixes and even unique items that dramatically modify its functionality. Having evade will allow us to design boss fights knowing that all players have a way to traverse out of harm's way quickly without having to choose to take a more powerful traversal ability on their action bar. 1.1 brings the most extensive balance updates of any patch ever, unlocking many exciting new build opportunities. We've updated skills, passives, and mechanics and can't wait to see what builds emerge as a result. For example, mana now regenerates while channeling on most channeled abilities, making skills like Warpath and Disintegrate awesome to build around. The Mage's Disintegrate skill tree has been updated and can now gain multiple stages of destruction. Minions are now tankier. The Sentinel's Shield Bash ability has received extensive updates. The Spellblade Mastery now has more access to Critical Strike. The Sorcerer has even more incentive to build high mana. Shaman and Forge Guard have received extensive updates to be more powerful and interesting. The Primalist Avalanche ability is no longer a channeled skill by default and can do things like proc Earthquake and Upheaval. And the Rogue's Multi-Shot has been buffed when used directly, alongside much more. See the patch notes for a full list of updates. And of course, with new and challenging content and massive balance updates, we're introducing a large swath of awesome new uniques to hunt. For example, the Nihilus Amulet, last epoch's first ever unique to have negative to positive roll ranges. This large variance means that finding a well-rolled one will result in you obtaining a very powerful item. The Nihilus Amulet is extremely versatile and can be used in many builds. Meet the Monument of Protection. This Sentinel shield counts as a one-handed axe and can be equipped with another shield, adding significant offense to shield-based skills and strong additional defenses. And the new Black Blade of Chaos. This powerful in-game two-hander changes the Blade Dancer's Lethal Mirage into a skill that can be used much more frequently, providing a potent and engaging new playstyle. There are 30 uniques coming with patch 1.1, so happy hunting. Let's talk about some of the existing system changes coming with patch 1.1. First off, we've added 2 new ranks to both Circle of Fortune and Merchant's Guild factions, and reduced the time it takes to reach the highest ranks. We've also revised their rank rewards, and there's now smoother progression in the items to access with Merchant's Guild, and we've provided Circle of Fortune with ranks to receive more boss loot, experimental item affixes, and the final rank now completes the prophecy twice instead of just duplicating the reward.